Hello guys, what's up and welcome back to another episode in the series of Guide to Hunter, and where today we're at the advanced level. I'll be talking on several factors on how to play Hunter from a player point of view. So the first topic I'd like to cover today is Hunter's attack animation. It simply means the animation in which the Hunter enters during attack. So things that you will need to consider are things like initial swing and end of swing or the back swing. So these factors will actually affect the gameplay, especially when the survivors are trying to body block, trying to juke you, or even when you try to attack through a window. So have a complete understanding of how your hunter attacks will play a major role in deciding whether you're able to hit your intended target or not. So the next topic I'd like to cover is your camera angling during a chase. Now, this is more important on higher tier level, in which sometimes when the hunter is nearing the survivor will make sudden turns or what we call juking in order to avoid the attack. It may not seem that much, but sometimes juking may help to extend the kite duration by a mere 3 to 5 seconds. Do not look down on this, because especially during a late game where Cipher is being primed, that 3 to 5 seconds is very valuable. And the best case scenario is that if the juking was successful and the kiter was able to further extend the distance from the hunter. So one of the way to overcome this is that when the hunter is nearing the survivor already, you angle your camera in a way that you are looking from top down, so that you are able to see clearer where the survivor is trying to juke you. The next topic is a habit that I would wish to teach all of you on how to break. Now, trust me, this was a habit that I find the most difficult to break in my time playing as a hunter. So I'm referring to when you are chasing your kiter, your first target, and you finally manage to down the survivor in your first chase. Yeah. So most of the time what we do is that the camera is set dead lock onto the down survivor. Now I felt this is a wasted opportunity, because let's face it, the kiter is not going anywhere, it has already down. So what the next best thing is to do is to actually angle your camera, number one, angle it around to see if there's any potential harasser like forward, cardboard, etc. If number two, you can also angle your camera to check for shaking ciphers. Now, Checking for shaking ciphers would account for several decision-making factors upon chairing, because number one, first is that you're able to tell where is the nearest shaking cipher. Then you potentially able to chair at the nearest location to the cipher. Then it allows you to simultaneously pressure the decoder into an early rescue. Number two, it also tells you where the rescuer could be coming from, because it's a normal state of the game where 3 other survivors will be decoding. You make a mental note of where these 3 shaking ciphers are. Upon chairing, the rescuer would definitely come, and that would mean he or she is not decoding, and that would mean the previously shaking cipher would now stop shaking, and that would give you an indication of the direction as to where the rescuer is coming from, and you can start proxy camping at a location further from a chair in anticipation to cut off this rescuer, and even potentially cut him or her off from rescuing totally. The third option is what I do in no camping, is I determine which cipher I will immediately teleport to pressure to. It's up to you guys whether you play camp or no camp. I believe this habit would be very important and very beneficial for you to practice. The next habit I also believe is in a tough fight is with the previous one, on which is tougher to break, which is when you're when you're chasing your target during the last cipher and you manage to land a hit, okay, and the survivor goes down, but as you would expect, the cipher pop, okay. So most of the time, me included, previously I would be hell-bent in chasing this survivor with borrowed time. But let's face it, let's take a step back and analyze. A survivor, when you attack, you're entered into a 3 to 4 seconds blade wipe animation in which you can't do anything. And in that time, the survivor are able to get up, get a 5 seconds of 50% movement speed bonus, and heal up, of course. Now take all this into calculation. For these 5 seconds, the survivor would be able to gain insurmountable distance from you, okay, and it's an uphill battle to be able to chase and down the survivor again. Well, unless circumstance provided, perhaps you manage to down the survivor earlier with your secondary damaging attacks. Well, if for things like that, maybe you do able to tunnel vision on this particular character. But normally, if let's say you land on your primary attack, let's face it, you are very unlikely to be able to chase down this survivor. So instead, what I would suggest to do is that once you heard the cipher pop, immediately angle your camera to find, number one, where was the pop cipher. Number two, if you have announcement, check for the highlighted survivors. Now back to number one, on the location of the pop cipher. Most of the time, the survivor who popped the cipher would proceed to the gate nearest to it. So that will give you an indication which gate you should TP, you should teleport or move towards to in order to intercept the gate from opening. Number two, the second reason, announcement. Announcement is the best, it's the easiest, that you're able to check exactly where the survivors are heading to, which gate, or if there's even anyone standing by at the gate already. So this would actually give you an advantage in which you still maintain your tempo in the game. Is that as long as for the gate is not open, they are still stuck in the map with you, in which you still have a decent chance of turning games around. Now I myself have able to turn games from loss to tie to sometimes even win, just by knowing my win condition in this stage, which is to prevent the gate from opening. Next thing I'll talk about is tunneling. Now, tunneling is basically if you're a hunter and you tunnel vision on a certain survivor during your chase. So you start to ignore things like surrounding effects, whether or not there's other survivor who is decoding of the location, if they are entering a strong kite zone, and you are just tunnel vision into downing this survivor. Most of the time it happens with the first survivor you found. So I would suggest that against it, don't have tunnel vision, because the more you tunnel vision, the more that you put yourself into a losing position by allowing 3 other survivors to decode. So here are some of the techniques I myself practice in order to give myself a timer to know if I'm tunneling or not. The first one is to rely on your secondary skill cooldown. What I meant is that think the skills like teleport or blink or excitement, etc., those things. So because I'm used to using teleport, when I start at the game, teleport has a cooldown time of about 45 to 47 seconds. So normally it takes me 10 to 15 seconds to find my first survivor, and that would mean my teleport cooldown time would come to about 30 seconds. So by the time if I chase and I notice my teleport is ready, that would mean I have already spent roughly 30 to 40 seconds in my chase. That would give me an indication that whether or not I'm tunneling and whether or not I should be committed to down the survivor. The second indicator I would use is actually the amount of time you will use your skill. I would recommend normally use 2 to 3 times of your skill, of course depending on the hunter skill cooldown. What I mean is for example, you're using Geisha, and Geisha dash cooldown is actually 8 seconds. So if you dash once, enter into cooldown, so 8 seconds. Dash twice, and then you enter into cooldown, 16 seconds. So you dash the third time you dash, meaning you have already entered you have spent at least 16 seconds of chase time already, assuming your first chase, your first usage of a dash wasn't on cooldown. So that would actually give you a rough indication on how long you have already spent in your chase. Okay, another example like Mary, use of mirror lasts for 12 seconds and cooldown of 15 seconds. So if by the time I finish my mirror, let it cool down, okay, that has already indicate a duration of 27 seconds. If I use my second mirror and the second mirror duration runs out and I still haven't downed my survivor, that indicates I've used a total of 27 plus 12, 39 seconds of time already. So use this knowledge to tell yourself, to help to time yourself on telling whether you are being kited for too long or not. So as to what to do with this information, I will cover in my next episode, but for now, this episode I will focus on how to control yourself as a hunter, as a pilot. The last topic I'll cover for today is tilt. Tilt is what I refer to as you are playing into your emotions. You will start to get angry, you get triggered, and you start to have this sensation of tense feeling on your neck muscle, and you would start to make misplays, make wrong usage of your skills, dash wrong plays, wrong mirror, bad bombs, etc. etc. Now it's very closely related to tunneling, but it's not the same. Okay, because to tunnel is basically to tunnel vision, in which you being too focused on a certain target. To tilt is basically you are playing into your image, you let your emotions take control of your playing, and then leading into misplay. Now the worst thing that could happen is when both of these happen together, and it happens a lot of time, in which you start tunneling and you are tilted. So for example, most of the time example is that if a survivor pallet stuns you and emotes at you, you get mad and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna down this survivor. I don't care if I win or lose, as long as I manage to kill this survivor, it's all I'm going to do. That is basically a sign of you being tilted. And tunnel, because you are tunneling on this little survivor who kiter who emoted at you, and that basically you just book yourself a first class ticket to Louisville.
Really? That's a stun? But how is that not an attack? How is that a miss? How is that a miss? Okay. What the hell are you? Did she just emote at me? Did she just emote at me? She emoted at me, right? Bloody. Could have down you and kill you.
I don't care, man. I'm gonna camp, I'm gonna kill you. That's the last thing I'm gonna do.